Yeah, so my name is Crystal. My artist name is Crystoria. I am located in Nashville, Tennessee. I am a mother of four that is have pressing forward into a lot of things that I never thought I'd be doing. I have a heart and passion to reach the lost through my music, through speaking as well. Really, my heart is behind people struggling with mental health, just abuse, addiction, recovery, the hard stuff that a lot of us don't want to talk about, and trying to bring relevant content to help people realize that they're not alone in this life.
Okay, so not just music, also other types of content as well. What kind of stuff would that look like?
Um, well, honestly, my heart is to eventually have a nonprofit to help women coming out of abuse. But for right now, I have really taken on like my social medias to like speak on those hard topics and hope that one day, I'd have opportunity to even, uh, speak at places and such.
Oh, right. Okay, cool. I have seen on your Facebook you do post a fair few updates, like really regularly, just about kind of they're not like sermon, like mini inspirational things based
Yeah,
around the Bible. Is that about right?
that is,
Is that
yes.
oh fantastic. So when you kind of put these messages out, is it just like the ladies that you're trying to reach, or is it how
You
what
know,
kind of people?
in all honesty, it's anybody and everybody. I mean, I have a heart for women's ministry, so I do sometimes focus in on those, on that audience, but really just to bring encouragement to people who are kind of in those dark places. That's really where my heart is aligned to reaching. And like I said, that can be anybody. That could be somebody who's just struggling with having a rough day, to a mom who's struggling with mom life, to the person who's struggling with suicidal thoughts on the side of the road. It really could be anybody.
So are you getting much kind of many people kind of reach out and contact you when you're putting these kind of
I,
stories or these
I
messages out?
I have had people reach out to me personally and be like, I've been following you for some time, and I just want to say that, you have helped me realize I'm not alone, or could you pray on this because I feel like you understand this, or, just simple things. Or I've had people share their testimony, and like it is like almost exactly to what my testimony was. And I'll feel led to share openly because
Right.
I don't share openly my entire testimony because it goes deep. But there have been times I'm like, you know what, you need to hear this. And they're like blown away. I'm like, you are not the only one struggling with this. You are not the only one that's enduring this, but God wants you to know that you're not alone, and that, if I've been able to press through this, you can press through this too.
Oh, do you find that it's mostly people inside the church then who are like reaching out to
Hon-
you?
Honestly, no. Which I have been in all about. I've had people who, um, you know, people that I knew growing up that were following me that were non-Christians reaching out and saying like just my vulnerability and my, um how do I say this? Just being solid in sharing who I am and what I believe. They respected that. And for them it was encouraging. I've seen that over the years where I've seen people who did reach out and just say like, this is encouraging, to where years down the road I'm seeing they're in church now and they're doing ministry. Maybe just maybe I planted a seed in there.
I mean, that's wonderful. I think often we kind of forget that sometimes when you're giving these kind of positive messages out there, the world's not really selling these people very much in the way of kind of positivity and hope. Really, it's all every man for himself, isn't it? And I think people do get drawn towards us when they're in these kind of difficult places, and that is a kind of a it's not taking advantage of somebody when they're like in a place of need, but they are certainly open to kind of having these kind of conversations, and you don't really know where they're going to lead sometimes, do you? It's nice to be used in that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. How long have you been making music for, right about now? I don't think I've.
Uh, I've been seriously writing and
Yeah.
trying to press forward into music since 2020.
Okay.
Music has been a part of my life since I was a kid, and I was the one, writing music, writing random songs in high school and everything. But I sense God telling me to let a lot of things go. I was really had a lot of business stuff I was doing at the time, along with being a stay-at-home mom with my 4 kids, right around the COVID time. And I was also in this season of writing music kind of quietly by myself, not letting anybody know about that, but it was like a healing thing for me. And I just sensed God placing me in a season of preparing, even though I didn't know what that meant. And
Right.
in 20, I heard him just say, "You got to let all this stuff go. You just need to be focused on me alone." And as soon as I did that, I had some people reach out asking if I wanted to be a part of this Christian songwriting thing online that they were doing because of the COVID thing. They were just trying to gather people together to kind of collaborate and connect. And I didn't know what that was going to lead to, but I sensed God was saying, yes, do it. And
Okay.
it led me to being surrounded by so many like minded people, that I had never experienced before, because I was always the strange one that liked writing music, I felt like. And I got connected with people down in Nashville, and it was just like it was encouraging. I'm like, I've never experienced this before, and I'm seeing all these people releasing music, and I'm like, could that be me one day?
Mm.
And and I kind of was in this place of maybe I'll just be the songwriter. I don't know if I really want to be in the forefront. Um, but at the end of 2020, I had some people just like saying like, if you have music, like send it to our radio if you have music. And I'm like, well, I don't have music. I'm like, maybe I should do that. And I just kind of went in this season of like, you know what? I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just gonna start doing this and like allow God to like lead the way, because it's a process. You don't just know how to do it right away. You learn
No.
from. And I started releasing more worship, very
Mm.
CCM.
Yeah.
It was very quiet, Crystal, um, just because I was coming out of a lot of hard stuff. I was a lot of trauma. Let's just say that, and I had lost my encouragement with my voice. I had kind of like really was like, I want to do this, but I'm discouraged. You know, um, what is my sound? Maybe I should just keep it like this, what everybody else is doing.
Mm.
And in 2022, I just heard, I actually 2022, I decided to get out of a lot of rough situations that I was in. And it was just like this weight lifted off of me to where I felt like I could finally be me. And I found myself being bold again in my voice. And
Yeah.
I had some people saying, maybe you should, try the rock genre, because like that might actually fit your voice and your boldness. And I'm like, what? I never thought about that. I never imagined myself being the rocker girl.
Yeah.
But I started listening and I'm like, you know what? It's fitting, because I'm the girl who goes straight to the minor keys when I write my songs. I'm the one who always goes to kind of like those dark emotions, because I feel like those are things that are important to put in songs, because it helps people realize that they're not alone. Um, and so I'm like, this is actually very fitting. So let's do this. I had friends connect me with Andrew Stanton from Disciple, and next thing I know, I'm releasing some really cool music, and been very blessed by the response and just how everything's been pressing forward.
Hey, this interview was recorded for the UCB1 Rock Show, the only place on national radio in the UK currently playing Christian hard rock and heavy metal. If you want to tune in, even if you're outside of the UK, why don't you go check out the information in the first pinned comment and the description below. Okay, let's get back to the interview.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that. I mean, I was spent a little bit of time this week just chilling in my car. When I've been driving around to work, I've been having Spotify on. I've been listening to like your Spotify playlists and stuff.
Yeah,
And like I've been playing Safe Place and what was
in
the
the
other one?
style.
Yes, that one, In the Silence. And I was like, yeah, this rocks. This really, really rocks. And then when I was getting in the car just driving around, I was like, Oh, that's quite poppy. Oh, that's Christian worship music. And like there's quite a large amount of your stuff. Like
Yeah.
I would say probably about 50% of it is like a heavy pop music, and then the other stuff was kind of like a worship music, and then you've got these two outliers really. Are they
Yeah.
the latest ones? Is that a new direction that you're kind of maybe moving in, or is it
So
just
it started with, honestly, it started with Rise. Rise kind of like is like rock pop.
Mm,
And that was definitely more of a first one to where I felt like I was a little bit more bold with my voice.
yeah.
I went with then Rush was released after that. And I was working with different producers trying to figure out like who's a good fit. I want to go rock, and one's more used to, one was more pop rock, one was more, I don't know. It was a combination of things. And then when I was connected with Andrew, I'm like, this is a good fit. I'm like, this is where I feel like I belong, because we were able to get the sound that I was really wanting. And yeah, so it's been a process, but I think we finally got where we want to be.
Oh, that is music to my ears. Like to hear that's the direction you want to go in, because like I'm all about obviously I like the rock music, you know.
Yeah.
And so tell me about Safe Place. I mean, that was such it seems like such an anthem to me. It's such a like a declaration. Um
Yeah.
Obviously putting your faith in, in God, when like I guess the storms are raging or whatever. So can you maybe like talk to us about the I guess the lyrics, if there's anything in there that's particularly meaningful for you, or really hit the nail on the head that you was really trying to the message you was trying to deliver.
Yeah. So Safe Place actually came out of the Psalms in 2020 actually. I was sitting at my piano, and I was dealing with a lot. I was dealing with depression, anxiety, I was dealing with panic attacks. I was dealing with a lot of questioning on like if I was actually in a safe place, to be honest. And I opened up the Psalms, and my friend Chrissy, she does a thing for worship songwriters here in Nashville, and she shares about how the Psalms were meant to be sung, and like just take them and sing them out loud, and then maybe God can bring forth a new song. And so that's what I was doing that day. I had one of the Psalms open up, and I just started singing it, and it was very slow, quiet, and mellow, to be honest. But for me at the time, like I was dealing with such emotion, um, and I would just literally, you know, you put me in your safe place, safe place. You lead me out of deep, dark waters, over and over and over again, just reminding myself he is our shelter. He is going to protect me no matter how much the enemy is throwing arrows at me. He's got me.
Mm.
And I just imagine myself at the time kind of like being on, honestly, I envision myself being on this beach and like the enemy coming at me, and I'm like, there's no place to go, there's water everywhere, like where am I supposed to go? Like he's surrounded me, and God just like picked me up and placed me on this rock out in the middle of the ocean, stormy and everything, but in all honesty, it was the best place for me because it was away from the enemy. And I just imagine that, and that's kind of where the song kind of came forth with, um, you place me out of deep dark waters, and so forth. And so that was a song I literally just sung over and over and over. I reached out to a friend. He wanted to help me co-write a little bit more to complete it. And I just kept telling him, I'm like, I feel like there's something powerful to the song. I'm like, I don't feel led to release this at the time. I'm like, maybe we should pitch this to a couple people. And we pitched it to like several different artists. And it just wasn't getting any response. And again, my voice was very quiet at the time. And I listened recently to that old demo, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I sent that out to people. But when I started, I started sending ideas to Andrew. I'm like, here's some ideas. And something in me was like, pull out Safe Place, send that to him too.
Yeah.
See what happens. And he chose Safe Place as one of the ideas. And he's like, I really, really like this. So we were able to bring it into the studio, and we were like, we don't even think we have to change the words. Like there was like a couple moving around things that we needed to move around, but like we're like,
Yeah.
we don't change anything. Um, and hearing it now, like, and being where I am now, like I was in a dark place at the time when I wrote it, and just my voice was quiet, and now I'm out of the dark place, and my voice is bold. It's just like, to me, it's amazing because I'm like, that girl that wrote this had no clue what she was about to walk through, but she made it, and God helped her, and God protected her. He provided that safe place, and here I am.
And
So
yeah,
it's yeah,
and that all kind of started from just being in the Word and just kind
yeah,
of being open to hearing what God has to say to you while you was doing that, and then just kind of maybe not understanding where he was leading you, but just being obedient to kind of say, I think you should do this. I think you should follow that path. And you're like, "Oh." But then it kind of takes you to that place, doesn't it? And I think that's wonderful. That is like that's faith in action, isn't it? That's brilliant. Awesome. I mean, I remember the first time I ever did open mics, right? I had a similar experience to that. I took an acoustic guitar to this place. My friend at work said, "Hey, you should come down and just sing some covers or whatever. You know, we've got this open mic." I was playing in front of about 15 people, and most of them was ignoring me. And I just could strum the chords, but then when it came to sing, I was just like, just couldn't do it. Couldn't get it out. I just didn't have the confidence. And then that was just like super embarrassing. And now like I'm on stage in my band and I'm screaming heavy metal at people. I think it all comes. There's a lot of confidence that is required, isn't there?
yes,
And once you have that, once you get to the place where you can do that, it kind of it works back on you, doesn't it? You're doing better, so you get more confidence, so you do even better, and it's even.
yeah.
Is that kind of the thing that you've noticed with your voice as you try to push it more?
I absolutely agree. Yeah, I think just being able to um, get in a place where I had a lot of people encouraging me, saying, "Crystal, you can do this. Crystal, I love your voice. Crystal, like whatever, like," and just helping me grow as a person because I had lost a lot of my confidence. I grew up singing country music. I would do competitions, I would do festivals. I sung on grandstands, for the fair. I did all that stuff. And then I went from that person to where I was afraid. I was afraid of what people thought of me. I was afraid of, being bold because people might think I'm yelling, like all these different things that tore me down to where I shut down. And, just surrounding myself with people who understood me and wanted to see me grow, like that. God god brought that community, and God helped me through them be able to get to that confidence again.
Hey, real quick, if you're having a good time today, please remember to hit that thumbs up button and leave us a comment below. It really helps this to get shared out to more people. And if you really want to help do that, why don't you share this video with a friend or drop it in a social media group of choice? Okay, let's get back to the interview.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like something's happened in your life that's like really knocked the stuffing out of you, really knocked the confidence out of you, um, and that can be like really, really super tough. I mean, considering the kind of things that you want to encourage other people with, you're talking about wanting to encourage people through difficult situations, difficult relationships, and abuse and things like that. I don't want to kind of push you into
Yeah.
I don't want to go down that, but I'm hearing that there's a lot of issues that you've had to go through.
Mhm.
How have you found that situation bring impacting your kind of your faith as a whole, not just in the music and just as a whole? Is that kind of thing rocked your faith or brought you closer to God? Because I've heard it go both ways from the
Yeah.
people that I've spoken to.
I would say it brought me closer. So I was not a Christian growing up. We didn't really go to church. It was occasional, Christmas or Easter thing.
Okay.
I found Christ when I was like 15, 16, started attending a youth group. I got married at 19. I was very young, my first kid before I was 20. And those were the years that a lot of trauma started beginning to happen, to be
Yeah.
honest. And if it weren't for my faith, I remember in those seasons of dark moments, I'd be like, okay, if I'm going to believe in this God, like if God is truly real, I want him to reveal himself in these moments, because that's where I was. I'm like, I'm a brand new Christian. I'm dealing with all this crap. And I'm like, God, if you are who you say you are, show yourself. And time and time again, like maybe there was like a financial situation, like we had, hardly any money, and like boom, like you pray and like a week later, like things are happening like right when we need it. Or a medical situation. My son, he had a busted eardrum, and we had took him to the doctor, and they're like, he might have to have surgery. He might have, with the way it happened, he could struggle with his hearing, whatever. And so we get an appointment scheduled like 2 days later. I take him, and they're like, there's not even a scar. Like if this really had busted, and I had seen it busted, I saw all the liquid coming out of his ear. If it really would have busted, it would have taken several months to heal, and we would have seen, there should at least be some scarring. But we're not even seeing that. We're seeing zero signs of it. And to me, like, I'm like, oh my goodness, we just had like people from our church and myself praying over him, and like hearing that, I'm like, okay, like, so it wasn't technically the really bad moments that I saw God move, but he would like randomly show up in these miraculous ways, like on the side of like, with my kids or with finances or whatever. And I'm like, I can't deny that those things are God. Like that is absolutely God. And so when I be going through my mess, I'm like, God, like help me cling to you, help me get through this, do something. And over and over again. And for me, that he became, my hiding place. He became my safe place. And I grew in faith in that. And there was definitely a lot of things that I wish didn't happen over the years, or a lot of things that I wish I would have done different. I wish I would have handled things differently. But in the end, I saw God in it all. And if it weren't for God, I don't think I'd be here, because I did suffer such a deep depression. There were times I dealt with suicidal thoughts. There were times that I just wanted everything to be over. But I knew God had me. And so I'm like, God, carry me through. And I went through this phase of like, God just telling me, I know that this is a bad situation, but like, just focus on me right now. Just focus on your relationship with me. You'll get through this. Just focus on that. So for, I don't know, the last several years, I turned to my music. I'm like, I had let it go. I had let go of my writing. And that was my one thing that I felt like God had given me for a purpose. And I was not obeying by that. And I'm like, God, I want to use this, and I want to use it for you. Like, do something with this. And so that became my healing place. That became my, just something I continuously went to be with him when I felt like I didn't have anything. And so I would just write, I would just sing. And eventually he brought me out of all of that. But I just, I remember even being at my piano in around 2017, and God just kind of like through prayer, I heard God say, I want to heal you through your music, but eventually I want to heal others through your music. But you're not going to be ready till your voice is ready, and your voice isn't going to be ready till you are ready. So I knew that there was going to be this like time frame of like, you just got to trust God. You got to give it to God, and he's going to pull through. And I'm in this season of like, where, okay, like all this is coming forth. I have my voice again. Like I have these songs coming out, and they're like being noticed. And I'm like, this is what God was talking about. Like, and hearing that years later, I'm like, and reminding myself, it's truly in God's timing. And to be, for others listening, to remind yourself, like, be patient, be still. If he says to be still, because his timing, even though you wish it might be now, His timing is perfect.
Oh, that is so good. I mean, we have these we have these the scriptures like, be still and know that I am God, and God works all things together for the glory of God, for those who love Him, don't they? It brings, it does all these good things, and for me, it's like somebody said to me once, like God lets people, like He lets abrasive people come into your lives because maybe you've got some rough edges that need filing off, and I'm like, yeah, that's probably true. Some of the horriblest people who've been in my life have kind of taken me down a peg, made me a little bit more humble, made me realize that I'm not quite as, I haven't got control of all this kind of stuff. And I've kind of found that when God's like when you kind of have it going through these really difficult seasons, like through the valley of the shadow of death, when you're doing these in these really dark places, having God there next to you is just good enough, knowing that he's there. It might not be taking you out of that place, but to have him there is like such a comfort. It's such an amazing thing. And then when you get to the end of it and you look back and you just kind of see, now, yeah, this is why I allowed all that kind of stuff to happen, because now you've got the test that you've been through is now your testimony, isn't it? It's the thing that you can use to inspire other people.
Absolutely.
And I think that's great that you've got, you've been through this season, this really long, horrible thing that nobody would have chosen of themselves, but it gives you a real authentic testimony that you can set to music and just inspire other people with. And I think that's wonderful. I think that's
Yeah.
really great.
Yes. One thing I ponder on a lot is, we wonder why things happen
Yeah.
to that, when they do. And I just remind myself, like, if us Christians didn't go through some of the things that we went through, who would the lost be able, like, when we're trying to reach the lost, they need to be able to relate to somebody. They need to be able to hear a testimony that, where somebody has went through what they've went through and been able to find Christ. Like, that is one of the, biggest things that helps, lost come to know Christ is through our testimony. And I do believe that God allows some of us to go through those things because we are then able to reach a certain people that not everybody would be able to reach. And so knowing that, I've taken it upon myself to really try to press forward into that crowd, because, not what I've been through is not a normal story, but I know that I'm not the only one who's been going through that. And so, trying to bring relatable content to people to where, like, she gets me, she hears me.
Yeah.
Maybe I should seek deeper into who this Jesus.
Yeah, that person went through the exact same thing that I'm going through right now, and she got through it, and her rock, her safe place, her hiding space was in Christ. Maybe I should look into that. And it's interesting that you bring up, or it's great that you've brought up and come back to Christ. I love coming back to the gospel, because it's like God, Jesus, God. How to put this? He showed the perfect example of dealing with pain and suffering on the cross, didn't he? And he took the punishment for our sins on the cross, and it was just the world's most difficult thing. And when we think about like our struggles and our suffering in the world, you look at what he went through during the crucifixion, you just kind of think, wow, he's already shown us that God was prepared to come here, put on flesh, and experience pain and suffering. He gets it. He understands pain and suffering, and we don't have a distant God who isn't like, it's just aloof. He's right down here in the dirt with the rest of us, and he gets it. And obviously you're doing the same thing. You're saying, like, I get it. I get this kind of these struggles. I've been there, and that there is a better answer. That's great. In the short amount of time we've got left, have you got some more kind of stuff coming out in the near future, or what's coming up for Crystoria in the next, I guess, towards the end of the year and into 2025?
So I'm planning on getting back into the studio with Andrew here very soon. In the next couple months is my heart. And it's a song focusing on abuse, to be honest. And I'm honestly thrilled to do it. It's very much my testimony, to be honest. And when I shared this with my drummer, and the very first thing he was like, "I've never heard a Christian song say the word abuse before." And I'm like, "No, but we're gonna have one." Like, I don't put a limit to what can or can't be, what can or can't God use, and
Yeah.
it was something important to press forward into and reach that specific crowd.
Brilliant. Well, I look forward to hearing that one when it comes out. We'll definitely be giving it a spin on the Rock Show. I have no doubt. I think that's probably the best place to kind of wind it up today. So I'll say, Crystoria, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us. And yeah, good best of luck with the new music.
Thank you so much.
So that's Crystoria. I hope you enjoyed meeting her today. If you want to find out more about her music and how you can connect, why don't you get down to the description where I have linked all of her socials. If you've had a good time today, please do hit that subscribe button and come back next week when I'm going to introduce you to Peter, who is the frontman of the Christian metal band Extol. I'm going to be talking to you about his new project, which is called In Theosis. Until next time, take care of yourselves. I'll see you later. Goodbye.